Hey everybody, welcome back to the SuperBake podcast. I'm your host, Baker. Let's talk about stuff. I've been playing Triangle Strategy on the Switch for the last week or so. That game is just ruling my life right now. I can't put it down. That'll be a podcast episode in and of itself. That game is so good. I'm just gonna very shortly say, if you haven't played Triangle Strategy yet, it's from the same people that made Octopath Traveler. It's really good. If you're a fan of the old Final Fantasy Tactics game, I think you'll really dig it. So it's got my seal of approval. But today I wanted to focus instead on some reactions I have to a few trailers that premiered recently within the last week or so. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was the gameplay trailer premiered for the Callisto Protocol. So for those of you who may not be familiar with this game, this is essentially it's an upcoming horror survival video game developed by Striking Distance Studios and published by Krafton. It's from Glenn Schofield, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, who previously worked on the Dead Space series. I'm a huge Dead Space fan. I'm not sure if I've mentioned that before on this podcast, but yeah, I have not played the original Dead Space. I played 2, which is one of my favorites, one of my favorite horror games in general. And of course 3, I really dug 3, but 2 I think is definitely the best. I remember one of my buddies had actually introduced me to 2 years ago, and it was a good mix of horror and action, but I loved every minute of it. I've replayed that game many times on the PlayStation 3. I'm not sure if they released an HD remaster of those 3 games for the 5 yet or not, but if they do, I'll definitely pick it up. So I remember hearing about this game a while back. I was very excited about it because I knew immediately that it was from the people who made the Dead Space series. So apparently it's set on a prison colony on it's called Black Iron, and it's one of the moons of Jupiter called Callisto. The year is 2320. And so you basically play as a prisoner named Jacob Lee, who is also played by Josh Duhamel at the prison, which is called Black Iron Prison. Basically, the prison is overrun with a bunch of weird alien mutant creature thingies, and you have to basically try to figure out a way to survive. So looking at the gameplay trailer, it looks like the warden of the prison is kind of working against you a little bit. You hear his voiceover throughout the trailer, and it looks like he's trying to basically screw with the player with Jacob Lee. This game definitely looks like Dead Space. If I didn't already know what the title of it was, I would have assumed it was Dead Space 4. And I remember there were talks about Dead Space 4 a while back, but then it got scrapped. I don't remember if Dead Space 3 sold very well, but I remember Dead Space 4 was basically was given the axe. So, but this game definitely looks like a Dead Space game. I mean, even down to not just the monsters you fight, which look a lot like the necromorphs from the previous game, except they don't have the little blades that come out of their arms, but the suit that you wear, that Jacob Lee wears, looks very reminiscent of Jason Isaac. Is that his name? I think that's his name from the original game. Who wears his engineer suit, which was a really cool aspect of the original game that I always dug. I liked that you were basically an engineer from you weren't like a soldier or anything. You were just this average guy who was just trying to survive the mutants or the necromorphs from the original Dead Space game. So yeah, and the other thing too that makes me think of Dead Space as well is you can see in the original Dead Space, you can see your health bar is kind of on your spine. It's in your suit, so it kind of cuts down on your HUD in the game, so that way it doesn't take up screen space. So you can kind of use that to try to survive enemy attacks, which you need to. So that's really cool. In this game, it's on a collar around your neck. So that's a cool little, I don't know if that's supposed to be a nod to the previous games or not, but I like that. Oh, Isaac Clarke. Isaac Clarke is the name of the character from Dead Space. I had Isaac right. I was just thinking that was his last name for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, that's a neat little touch. I think that's a pretty ingenious way that they do that. It's a nice way to cut down on the amount of your screen that's being used up while you're playing. Just watching the trailer, number one, I mean, obviously this game has the advantage of updated graphics since it's on, the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. It's got the advantage of having really impressive looking graphics. Some of the cutscenes in the trailer look really good, especially on the main character, Jacob Lee. there's a few shots in the trailer where you can see him. He's like sweating really hard, and just like his facial animations, you can see like the folds of the skin on his face when he makes different expressions. It's like the amount of detail games are able to get to now is just insane. I mean, I think this or say this, with every new generation of consoles that comes out, but it's like I really feel like we're getting to the point now where it legitimately is hard to imagine games getting much more realistic in terms of graphics. But I mean, I'm sure they will, though. I'm sure when the PlayStation 30 comes out, it'll be ridiculous. So at that point, it will be photorealistic. But yeah, this game looks phenomenal. There's one part in the trailer that really caught my attention. There's a part where your character is sneaking by one of the mutants that's basically looks like they're frozen or something, and there's a close-up where you can see its eyeball actually moves as it looks at you. That's such a crazy detail that you would almost expect to see like in a modern horror movie, but not in a game. Like the amount of detail they're able to get in this looks really good. And just in the gameplay trailer, you can see like there's several like death scenes that happen. There's one where the character gets he gets part of his head bitten off by one of the creatures, and it's so gruesome. Just the amount of detail they put in there, I freaking love it. It's kind of funny, like I'm not a fan of gore when it comes to like movies and cartoons, but in video games, for some reason, gore does not bother me. I have no idea why. I guess it's because I know it's not real. But the thing is, like, gore in cartoons bugs me, depending on how it's done. Like, that's kind of the reason why I don't watch a lot of, there's certain anime that I don't like because of just how disgusting they are. Like, Genocyber is one. For those of you who haven't seen that anime, don't watch it. It's disgusting. I think it's considered one of the goriest anime ever made. I watched the OVA years ago, and I couldn't eat for like a week. Don't watch it. But yeah, like anime like that, Violence Jack, like those are super ultra gory, ultra violent anime. And like for some reason, seeing gore and stuff like that bothers me. Same thing with movies. Like, what is it? Crimes of the Future just came out, and it's from the same guy that did Videodrome, whose name escapes me right now. I have no idea. I have no intention of watching that just because I don't like gore in movies. But in video games, for some reason, it just doesn't bother me as much. Like, Dead Space is definitely a very gory game. The Resident Evil games, which is a good point that I'm going to bring up in a little bit, those are gory games. But for some reason in video games, gore just doesn't really get to me. I can't really explain why. But anyways, didn't mean to get off topic too much. I'm very excited for this game. The release date is December 2nd, 2022, so it's coming out later this year. I'm curious to see how it's going to be. I'm hoping that maybe if this game sells well, that might maybe reignite the Dead Space series and potentially get us Dead Space 4. I mean, for me, I feel like this might as well just say the Callisto Protocol : Dead Space 4, because it looks just like Dead Space. But yeah, I think I definitely plan on getting this game. I love a good scary game, and I think this could be right up my alley. So I will definitely keep an eye out for this one for sure, and of course, when I play it, I'll make sure to post my review for it. So the next thing I wanted to discuss quickly was the gameplay trailer, as well as the reveal trailer for the Resident Evil 4 remake game that is coming out. Looks like it's March 23rd of 2023. So I know there were rumors circulating for a while that this game was going to get made, and especially since they did a remake for Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3, both of which I haven't played yet. I do want to play those, especially the second one, because I've heard really good things about it. One of my buddies played it, and he said it was just phenomenal. It also has the benefit of not being an overly long game, so you can play through it multiple times, which I think you kind of have to if you want to get everything and discover all the secrets. I didn't play Resident Evil 4 back in the day. I think it originally came out on the GameCube, if I remember right. I never played it, but I know a lot of people consider it like their favorite of the entire series, which is really saying something, because there's a lot of people who still swear up and down that Resident Evil 2 is the best one, and I think the first one as well. So yeah, I didn't get to see. It doesn't look like too much is revealed of it in the gameplay trailer. I think it looks like, from what I can tell, it's the opening scene where Leon first enters the town and goes into that house where he's attacked by one of the citizens. But it's just funny because, like, seeing Leon in this game and then seeing him in the RE2 remake, like, it's just crazy to see, like, the amount of detail they've been able to add into this game. Because obviously the original Resident Evil 4 was on the GameCube, which at the time those graphics looked impressive, but by today's standards, obviously they don't look as good. So it's crazy to see the amount of detail they're able to get into this game as well. I think this is going to be my chance to finally play Resident Evil 4. I need to play the second and third remakes as well. I plan on getting to those at some point. I actually have Resident Evil 7 downloaded on my PS5. It was like one of those deals they were offering the free upgrade or whatever. So I just went ahead and picked it up. So I figured it didn't cost me anything, and I don't think Resident Evil 7's a very long game either. So I'll play that for sure at some point here pretty soon. I still have to get through the rest of Triangle Strategy, and then I also have Elden Ring that I need to play. I'm sure that game's going to kick my ass. That's going to be fun. But yeah, this is going to be, man, so many good games coming out in the next year or so. I'm definitely excited about this one. It's kind of funny. I know the story of Resident Evil 4. Like I've watched Let's Play videos of it, so I know for the most part everything that happens in there. Like I know about the monsters, the villains, and all that stuff, and the main story that takes place during that game. So I mean, it's not like this is going to be anything new for me, and from a story perspective, I guess I'm just more interested to see like how they make the game look and what they do with certain scenes of the game. Like there's one character from the original, from the first or the original RE4. I don't remember his name, but he's like the big tall guy, the big tall bald guy with the beard and stuff, who turns into like a giant centipede. I'm really curious to see like how creepy and disgusting they're going to make him look, as well as that giant ogre monster that you fight as well. I'm very curious to see like how his design's going to look in this game. It's going to be great. And then there's the giant monster you fight in the lake. There's going to be so many awesome things in this game that I can't wait to see. And that was something that I was excited about when the RE2 remake came out, was seeing Mr. X in that game, seeing how he looked, seeing Nemesis in Resident Evil 3, and seeing like the lickers and stuff like that. It's cool seeing all these monsters I remember from the original games kind of like reimagined with updated graphics and visuals. So yeah, I'm obviously gonna pick this game up too if it wasn't clear at this point. I'm excited about this for sure. Like I said, there's so many awesome games coming out. Hopefully I assume as we get closer to the release date, since we're just barely under a year away, we'll get more gameplay footage of it. Right now it seems like it's pretty minimal as far as like what's been revealed of it. We've got a couple pics of the game, as well as like that one gameplay footage on YouTube. With the Callisto Protocol, since that game's closer, there's actually a lot more gameplay like demos available that you can watch on YouTube. I've watched a couple here and there. They look pretty good for the most part. But this one, obviously, since this was just announced recently, there's very little on it as far as like how it's going to look. But I mean, if it's anything like RE2 and 3, I'm not worried about it at all. But yeah, this was one of those things where I knew it was being rumored that it was going to happen, but this was like the first time I actually saw that it was confirmed. So yeah, this Callisto Protocol, man, this could be a good year for scary games. Hopefully maybe we get some good scary movies as well. I don't know why, I'm a sucker for the horror genre. So all right, and on to my last topic. The trailer for the new Beavis and Butthead movie, Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe, premiered last week, which I don't know if it came out earlier than that. I did not know that this movie was even happening. I had no idea Mike Judge was even making another Beavis and Butthead movie. But he is behind this movie. It does look like he is. He is working on this movie as well, so that's awesome. But yeah, like it's the sequel to the original Beavis and Butthead Do America from 1996, which is crazy that it's been that long since their last movie. I saw the trailer, so I'm going to be honest, like, I liked Beavis and Butthead a little bit when I was a kid. It was one of those shows where I never really watched an entire episode from start to finish. At least I don't think I did. It was one of those things like where I would kind of just tune in every once in a while and watch a clip of it. Like on YouTube especially. Like I watch clips of Beavis and Butthead every now and then just to, I don't know, just for a good laugh every once in a while. But it was never one of those things that I was a huge fan of. And the thing is, I'm a big fan of Mike Judge and his work. Like I love King of the Hill. That's one of my all-time favorite shows. And I've heard that there's a revival of it coming. Like I think I talked about that before. They're doing a revival of that show, so I'm excited for that. Beavis and Butthead was just one of those things where like I liked it fine, but I was never a diehard fan. But yeah, this movie, it's supposed to premiere on Paramount Plus next week, June 23rd, which, what day is that? Is that next Friday? Let's see. The time of this recording, it will premiere a week from today exactly, on the 23rd, which is next Thursday. So, yeah, I mean, I'll watch it for sure. I'm curious just to see how it's going to be. Mike Judge, of course, is reprising his role as Beavis and Butthead, and I assume Mr. Anderson, if he's going to be in the movie, the guy who was the catalyst for Hank Hill. Basically, as far as I can tell just from watching the trailer, it looks like Beavis and Butthead are basically, like, for some reason put into a ship and sent into space. And it looks like at one point in the movie we see, like, there's a clip where they go into a portal into another dimension, which leads to a lot of just different crazy antics and just typical Beavis and Butthead ness throughout the movie. There's even a kind of a funny clip in the trailer where you kind of see, like, what looks like futuristic, almost alien versions of the two characters when they're talking to Beavis and Butthead. So, yeah, so it looks like it's interesting. Like, it's what you would expect, basically. It's like the typical mannerisms and antics you would expect from these two characters. Just a lot of like potty humor or toilet humor, stuff like that. But I mean, that's kind of what they're known for. I mean, the thing is, like, I almost kind of wonder sometimes if Beavis and Butthead, I know they tried to revive the show a few years ago, and I think it did fine. I don't know if I think it kind of died out a little bit. Like, I don't remember if it got canceled or if they just stopped. I'm not really sure. I just kind of wonder if Beavis and Butthead is one of those things that, like, kind of belongs in the 90s. It definitely feels like a product of its time in many ways. Like, I get a good laugh out of it every so often, but it's not one of those shows that I can honestly say, like, makes me laugh out loud all the time. There's definitely some things about it that get me. Actually, there's things that people have created based on Beavis and Butthead that cracked me up. Like, there's a video on YouTube called, I think it's The Legend of Beavis, where somebody they basically dub over the original Legend of Zelda cartoon with, like, Beavis's voice, and it's like, it is hilarious to listen to. Like, whoever did that video, like, did a fantastic job. I watch that video over and over again, and it makes me laugh so hard every time I do. So I guess it's less Beavis and Butthead stuff, and like that stuff makes me laugh, but I feel like it's also, like, just the media that's been created surrounding them that also makes me laugh too. I remember, like, years ago on Celebrity Deathmatch, that old clay fighting show where they actually had Beavis and Butthead fight each other. And for some reason, I remember being little and thinking, like, that was, like, the biggest deal ever, just watching that. But yeah, I will definitely watch this next week. I doubt I'll do a review of it, just because it's kind of like the Jackass movie. It's like, I don't really know if there's much to review. Like, yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a story, but it's not like this is supposed to be, like, a deep, thought-provoking film. It's just two cartoon idiots just being idiots, basically. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said before, I kind of feel like they feel kind of out of place in this day and age. They definitely feel like characters that belong in the 90s. It's kind of like, I think, when I watched the Invader Zim film, the new Invader Zim film that came out on Netflix a year or two ago, and I really liked it. I enjoyed it a lot. But Invader Zim was like a early to mid 2000s cartoon, and even like that's more recent than Beavis and Butthead. But the movie was, like, not that it was bad or anything, I enjoyed it, but just watching it, I kept thinking, like, man, it feels weird watching this now in this day and age. So I can't help but wonder if maybe I'm going to feel that watching this film. I guess time will tell. But I mean, I'm going to keep an open mind and definitely check it out. Let's see, the runtime, 100 minutes. Okay, so it's not too bad. Let's see. Trying to see if there's any, like, big name celebrities in it. I don't see anyone that I recognize, at least. Nah, doesn't look like it. But yeah, I mean, it looks it's gonna be, like I said, on Paramount Plus, premiering June 23rd. So I'll definitely check it out. But don't expect a review from me on this movie. I mean, I might talk about it briefly and just kind of give my overall thoughts and opinions on it. But I mean, yeah, this isn't going to be something that I'm going to do a in-depth review on, like I might do for other games or other movies and games and stuff. But speaking of reviews, I just want to make an announcement for the next episode of my podcast. So I recently beat the Tales of Arise game for the PlayStation 5. That is the latest entry in the Tales of series. For those of you from Namco, for those of you who have never played that series, I strongly recommend it. They're phenomenal. And Tales of Arise is definitely one of the best JRPGs I've played in recent memory. So I'm going to be doing a review of that for my next podcast, so look for that next time. All right, guys, I think that's pretty much all I have to talk about today. Once again, I am on Anchor, Spotify, and YouTube. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitter and Facebook. And I will catch you guys next time. Later.